Welcome back, sixth grade. Hope everyone had a great break, stayed safe, stayed healthy, spent some time with family, maybe even a couple friends. Want to welcome y'all back. We're excited for another Wildcat Wellness today. I'm Mr. McCaffrey, your counselor. We're going to do another second step lesson. We're going to build on everything we've been working at in regards to setting goals, long term and the short term milestones we're trying to reach, and the benchmarks on your way to achieving that big goal that hopefully we all have written down, whether that may relate to your grades or maybe a sports or something with your family or personal. Today we're kind of hopefully going to bring it all together and give you a little bit more information of how to monitor your progress as you're on your way to achieving that goal. And remember about, there's all kind of ways you can ask for support, whether that's from peers or from, mentors / counselors or your teachers or Miss Cyber. And there's a lot of people here that can help. Just want to remind you of that. And we're seeing a lot of transition right now. There's a lot of changes coming about in your life and in everyone's individual life. And a big one is going to be in the next few weeks as we transition back into school and how that's going to look for academics, how that's going to look for friends. So there's a lot that's going to be changing, but we just want to, encourage you to stay positive, stay focused on yourself. All right. Stay focused on your goals and what you can do to achieve your goals. All right. So first things first is my location. I changed up my location. A couple weeks ago, I did Quito, Ecuador, which was a place I got to visit for a couple weeks, and it was an extremely fun city. This is a place I've actually never visited. I would love to visit it. I guess you could consider it one of the more natural wonders of the world. Um, this one and another one in the Zimbabwe area in Africa are kind of related to each other, if that's just a little clue. So this one is in America, partially in America. Other part is in Canada, but I think a lot of your teachers probably spotted it. Hopefully some of you students can too. But this is Niagara Falls, and this is a place I just think would be so cool to visit and just see. You can see the tourists down there. Those amazing, massive, all natural environments that they just catch you in awe, about how big they are. Those are really fun places in my mind to visit. So just hopefully, if you haven't heard of it, now you do, you go check it out, watch some YouTube videos and learn a little bit about some of the amazing natural landscapes that are out there. Anyways, we'll move on now to the lesson. So again, the lesson, we talked a lot about goals. We've been doing a lot of goal work the past few weeks. So I'm going to share my screen and get into it. Teachers, I also added follow-up questions because this lesson relies heavily on partners and we clearly won't be able to do partners yet. So I'm going to do my best to kind of walk us through it here. And then at the end or in your email, you'll see some additional questions that hopefully you can use to encourage classroom discussion. So let me share the screen and get us started. Okay, so it's quite literally about bringing it all together. That's the name of the lesson, and that's what we want to do with the goals. So we've set our long-term goals, and teachers, this is a good time to check in with your students that they have their long-term goals written down next to them. That's a very important part of this. And then we should have gone over already some of the shorter term goals, the benchmarks that you can achieve to know that you're on your way to achieving the big goal. So, if the big goal is to end up with an A in a certain class, the little goals are you studying, you're doing your work every night, 30 minutes extra reading, little things like that along the way to reach the big goal. And, kids, students, these are just great life lessons. So we want to try to apply this to all areas of life, not just academics or not just, trying out for sports teams or trying out for the band. You want to try to apply this in all areas, especially if, it'd be hard, but a long-term goal to have a better relationship with my brother or sister, and the little goals you can take. Like today, we didn't argue at all, or, little goals like that. There's ways to apply this to all areas of your life that can make it super beneficial. And that's the goal of these Wildcat Wellness, is to make sure, we want to support you in all areas of life and give you the tools to be successful. That's the goal. All right. So in this lesson, you'll create an action plan for achieving your goal. Warm up. All right. This can be a class discussion. After I ask it, teachers, you can pause. Are you making progress towards the goal you set last week? How do you know? It might not be last week for us, but the goal that you set, are you making progress towards that goal? And then how do you know? So if some students would love to share, that'd be fantastic. You pause me. All right, I'll continue now. So here's the activity. And students, you can do this individually. So you're going to create an action plan for your goal. All right. Remember your plan. All right. We want it to be a big long-term goal with smaller short-term goals, progress markers, how you'll know when the goal is complete, and ways you can change your strategy if you're not making progress. Now that's a lot, but let's look at the example they have. All right. So the big long-term goal here is to get into jazz band. All right, that's usually a pretty high level band. It's pretty hard to do. So they're giving themselves 4 weeks to complete. Now, I think at the beginning, it can be a longer time period. It can be longer. So I'll complete my goal if I'm accepted into jazz band. Some of my smaller short-term goals are practice 30 minutes a day, learn my solo before tryouts. All right, then progress markers are I'm tracking my practice schedule in a spreadsheet. I can place my solo with no mistakes by the end of week 4. So, week 1, week 2 might have been to learn the solo. End of week 2, you can play most of your solo without looking at the sheet or without mistakes. Probably without mistakes. You're going to have to look at the sheet. By the end of week 3 or 4, that's when you start doing it with no mistakes. So you need to build whatever you're doing. Don't set the bar too high. All right, we want it to be a slow, gradual progress. I think that's kind of the objective here. So, all right, let me move this so I can clear it. So again, teachers, you can pause me now and talk to your students. Okay. Welcome back. We will evaluate your plan. Now, using the checklist on your handout, evaluate your own action plan. Not all teachers have the handouts or are using the handouts. It just depends on how the class is handling the virtual setting. So here's the checklist. All right, so each one of these students gets a check next to it, or a 1 through a 5 meaning you're doing it the best. The goal's specific. The goal is broken down into smaller short-term goals. Students, you've identified progress markers. It'll be easy to tell when the goal has been achieved. There are ways to change the strategy if progress isn't being made. Okay. Now, again, the benchmarks, the progress markers, I believe the handout, if it would let me choose. Okay, I'm not going to worry about it too much. All right, we'll just get through this. So teachers, talk to your students. We went over the evaluation plan. We're not going to do your partner's plan because we don't quite have the ability. And then the last one is, how do you compare your evaluation with your partner's plan? So for this, teachers, wrap up. How did your self-evaluation, all right, compare to what you thought in the beginning for your goal achievement progress? So maybe compare and contrast how you're doing now versus how you're doing the first week, something along those lines. And teachers, you might be able to think of a better question, or even as simple as, how is your progress coming? To do a fair self-evaluation would be nice here, and hopefully we can get some students to share. So you can pause me, and the rest of the information, teacher, will be in the emails. I hope y'all have a good conversation, discussion about goals and about the self-evaluation and how where you have some challenges or where you did a little bit better than you thought. You know, students, again, we encourage y'all to share. This really truly is a time for y'all to express yourself and talk about what's hard, what's easy. And you'll hear hopefully from other students about what's hard, what's easy. And you'll see we all have a lot in common. And I guarantee your teachers have been some of these same, I know I've been through some of these same challenges when trying to reach a goal. You come up against roadblocks that make it seem either like it's impossible or it's just really hard to do. And you have to find a way around it to stay on track. Sometimes that's asking others for help. Sometimes that's having a new benchmark or a new progress marker that kind of takes you over, but you're still going forward. There's all sorts of things going on when trying to achieve goals that can hold us back. You know, sometimes it can be our friends or family members that are holding us back. And you just have to talk to them and be like, look, I need some more support here, here, here. So getting people on your team is a big part of it as well. You always want to have your support system, your team. We talk about that a lot. If you ever make an appointment to come talk to me or another counselor, we'll talk about who's on your team, who's on your support system. And we'll try to help build that with you, because that is such an important part of, you know, being successful and, you know, pushing through challenges, which I've talked a lot about here, but we're all going to face challenges, all kinds of challenges in school, at home, personal life, everywhere. So just know that we're here for you. Know that if you want to make an appointment, please, please do. Ask your teacher. They'll reach out to us. Your teachers email me all the time, and I love it. So if you need anything, please reach out. I hope y'all have a great Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, have a good one. See you next week.